Are you shooting horizontally?
No.
Vertically?
Vertically.
Don't shoot vertically. Yeah.
My bad.
That's okay. Gimme. Give her. Okay, I got very lucky today with the nut, and I want to show you the only method that I think is ever going to work is you have to get a crescent wrench on the big one, which does not turn. If that turns, it means you broke your pan, and then wedge it with something, preferably wood, which I use this here. And then I got the 24 millimeter and just really railed on it after some PB blaster. Most of these are not going to come off, which means you'll have to remove the starter bolts to get this flange off. Oh. It's still gonna fight me all the rest of the way, but at least I have a little bit of it. I broke it loose, which is the big part of the battle. The fluid's pretty bad in there, but that's how much came out just from the drain plug. 92s have a drain plug, isn't that great? Today, I'm wearing my least favorite pants to do a transmission, pan, and filter service on Big Red here. You know, it's hard to say where it's leaking from, but I can tell you that, yeah, if you look at the reflection or the glare, it looks like this part's dry here. It's dry a little bit here, but then it's like wet, wet, wet. So, it's possible that it's leaking from everywhere. This is like a cork gasket. The replacement gasket we got with our filter kit is a rubber. I'm still gonna use a thin bead of silicone all the way around both sides of the gasket because I wanna have a nice dry seal. I also don't like to use thick amounts because it will make a harder job for somebody going in later to try and scrape all that stuff off of both surfaces. Okay, you see the spots that are wet on the inside, you see it dry along the bead, a little wetness around the bolt holes, wet in the corner, pretty dry all along here, but leaking probably through the holes. So that'll be the most crucial spot for applying the gasket material. There's a lip on here all the way around, which is actually quite nice for getting this pressure sealed. As far as the filter goes, here's our old filter. It doesn't look awful, it's not full of sludge and stuff. There's a little piece inside though. Do we get 2 gaskets?
No, we just have one.
Yeah, it looks like we're supposed to have 2 gaskets, but only one comes with that. So they're identical gaskets. But anyway, we're gonna just clean that up and put it back. So yeah, this one's all broken up. You can see inside some sludge, or it's not sludge, but like a piece of debris in there. It's hard to see, but anyway, that's real straightforward. There's 8 millimeter bolts on this. It's not going to take too much torque, but we want to have a nice clean reinstallation. Well, we'll see what the procedure is for getting the air bubbles out, because my concern is, all the fluid that's up in there that came out after we removed the pan and then removed this, and more fluid came out with this. I don't want to overfill the pan and have it coming up from the dipstick, or even like living higher than the gasket that we put on, because then that could cause a leak. So I'll give you the information as I figure that out. Clean, putting it all back together, and not a lot to talk about at this step. The dirtier side of the pan was the side that has, the front and then the side by the exhaust. So I'm guessing that is what was cooking the old gasket, is just the heat from the pipe was just making it the first side to go, basically. ATF is very detergent, so it keeps the passageways clear, but this pan got all covered with just grayness. Probably residue from the clutch packs, but we're optimistic here that everything's gonna go back okay. This is a brass brush, so it's not gonna damage the steel pan. What I like about my gloves is the texture. Helps me texture the silicone really nicely, which I'll go around on my second pass. Gives it the highs and lows that it needs to settle as I smush the gasket onto it. Also learn to, because it's constantly dripping fluid out of the transmission, I have learned to give the silicone a little time to set before squeezing it all together. And that seems to help. 10, 15 minutes. Depends on humidity.
Honestly, you could use this whole bay as like an ASMR.
less on this side, if any. Do you think these shoes go well with these pants, like, because the blue and the orange?
I think. No.
Okay. When I go under the car and I'm about to attach the transmission filter, I'm not going to use RTV on the old gasket or on the new gasket at all, okay? Those are just going to be smushed because they'll stay pretty wet. But I am going to dry the surface of it because it'll keep dripping, so I'm going to dry it and then stick it on immediately so it doesn't have a chance to get wet and sort of go through the gasket material and maybe cause a leak in the seal. I don't know how sensitive those filters are to the seals. This is very thin here, and I like that. Still enough to texture. We need to texturize, volumize.
Pleasurize.
Yikes! Yeah, it's still dripping. The trouble with this job is you have to keep the drain pan underneath the whole time because she's just constantly gonna keep dripping. All right, so let me just dry this surface here for the filter. $60 to 75 foot-pounds on these little guys. That's a joke. It's probably 12 inch-pounds. The tricky one is the one that goes up against the line here, but the line has a little flex. There's a little bit of paper on the bottom. I want to clean that up. How's it look on that side? Okay, well, that's the underside of the valve body, folks. Following this job, it's time to replace the tranny mount, the gender non-binary mount. I'm gonna make a pass with the razor blade. See if that makes my feelings go away. And then we'll attach the pan gasket.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
It's good to be here. Now, we don't need to go Mach 15 with this Gillette. Just drag it across, make sure it's a nice flat surface. The next tricky thing will be getting the pan gasket on without soiling it because it'll be dripping on us. And then the tube for the, I guess the fill? I don't know what that tube is. Oh, the dipstick's probably like, goes down to here. Cause like this is probably the measuring area. Wow, I learned something new. It's not like an engine oil dipstick. It's nice when the paper breaks off, so you don't really have to dig your razor blade into it. Try to soak that up a little bit. Must be Wednesday night, because it's business time. Okay, first up against the... That's not right. That's not right at all. Let's try that again. Et voila. And there you go. Should probably clean these bolts before. Now I gotta do them one at a time. I like this rubber gasket a lot more than the paper one. It makes me feel better. The pan gasket has been tightened. Now I gotta loosen this up. Somehow it got stuck back here. I added a little copper anti-seize to the threads here. Okay, fingers crossing here. Wouldn't it be just awful if we had to loosen the pan to get those to thread? Oh, good. That does not feel right. Oh, my next trick. Looks pretty straight, doesn't it?
It does from this angle.
Does from this angle too. Here's how we check. It's a compression fitting, so it's gonna be tight AF, but I don't want it to be tight as broke, you know? Everything's buttoned up, and as a quick aside, when you start filling up, make sure you got your drain plug back in. Whoops. All right, well, the power washer will take care of this, but fingers crossed. We're gonna let her idle for a minute before And then we're gonna do the thing where we put it in reverse for 2 seconds, neutral for a few seconds, drive, low, 1, back to 2, back to drive, neutral, reverse park. So that should help get all the fluid circulating in and around and throughout everything. Ugh, what a day. Okay, see you on the other side. Oh boy. I wonder how it feels, you know, if it's doing better or worse right now. It seemed like it was a little over full. Okay, that big locking bolt for the dipstick tube, it was really, really difficult to get it started. I was so worried about cross-threading it, so what I ended up doing was a lot of oil. PB Blaster cleaned those threads beautifully, and then it was really, really tight until the very last full 2 turns where it got so loose that I thought perhaps I'd stripped it. But, you know, I would start it and back it out all the way and go, oh, the threads look okay, it's just kind of dirty, keep oiling it. You know, if I could get to the top starter bolt, I would have removed it. So, yeah, then it got real loose for the last 2 full rotations, and it snugged up nicely. How does it feel, Sarah? Did it move forward okay?
It moved forward.
I mean, did it feel like it was okay? It was good. So look what Sarah found at the bottom of the drain pan. Wow. Friendly reminder, get your drain plug and your crush washer. I only have myself to blame. Okay, you know what? This is gonna be easier without gloves, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not scalding hot. Nope, it's just regular hot. See how dirty the fluid already got from the mixing with the other fluid? Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Big bada boom. All that crying and kicking and screaming for what? Just so that you could say a baby recognizes a baby. You bring me a paper towel? I think we're all good here. It never had issues shifting, but it would have issues engaging into reverse reliably. Feels a little more peppy now, but let's see how she drives. Maybe a little more responsive. Just shifting between gears was like our first indication of a old worn fluid on it. That feels good. Shifted really nice there. Kick down. And now let's manually go back down to first gear. Okay, very good. Yeah, she feels all right. Manual to 2. Manual to 3rd. Okay. Well, as we saw when we removed the drain plug, the fluid got a little murky. It's not bright red anymore. It's just kind of like a dark red, almost like a cheap wine red, with the second that it mixed with the old fluid, which was all the old fluid in the torque converter and all the fluid in the mount, the cooler, the front radiator mounted cooler. Seems to be okay. I'm going to check the fluid level at the dipstick here at idle, and hopefully she's at a good spot. It was a little over full, so I did the same trick. Opened the drain plug on the pan, and took out about, I don't know, half a quart. So she's good now. Hope that car stays good too.